Now the final day of the first half of the season is here, and the Florence Yalls try to salvage the series against the New York Boulders. Coming up in just a couple of moments here on the Florence Yalls Baseball Network with Carter Bainbridge. I'm Anthony Mazzini. As the first half of the season wraps up and the Yalls desperately need a win, they have lost 10 games in a row. They have lost 18 of the past 22. And it has been a trying stretch as of late for the Yalls. They turn to Jake McMahill today to try to get them on track. And here is the lineup for New York. It is the exact same lineup, just a couple of position changes. They have been a model of consistency and production in terms of their offensive players, their position players this year, having only made one addition to that group this season. Gabriel Garcia is the shortstop, leading things off. Pat Kivlahan, the center fielder, bats second. Tucker Nathans, the second baseman, bats third, with Thomas Walraven, the DH. Good to see him in the lineup today after being taken out yesterday. David Vinsky, the left fielder, bats fifth. Chris Quitzer, the third baseman, bats sixth. Jimmy Costin, the catcher, bats seventh. Joe DeLuca, the first baseman, hits eighth. And Giovanni Garbella rounds out the order for New York today, batting ninth and playing right field. They face Jake McMahill, 4.89 ERA on the season. He's 1-2, making his ninth start. Opponents hitting238 against McMahill. His biggest issue this season has been walks, 26 of them in 35 innings. 5 1/3 innings, 5 runs and 5 walks in his last start. And Carter, if he cleans up the walks, this guy has some pretty good stuff. Well, it's nearly time for baseball at Thomas More Stadium tonight in Florence, Kentucky. The Yalls finally back at home, coming off a 4th of July road trip out in Windy City and Gateway. Back at home tonight, trying to snap an 8-game losing skid. Here with Carter Bainbridge, I'm Anthony Mazzini. Good to be back at Thomas More Stadium. And it's good to have the Yalls back as well, coming off that 6-game road trip, and the Yalls certainly happy to be back. They have lost 8 games in a row, and they have not won back-to-back games in a couple of weeks. And they look to start a winning streak tonight against the New York Boulders, the first and only time this season that New York and Florence match up against one another. Nate Florence on the mound tonight for Florence, and he faces this lineup for the 26-20 New York Boulders. Gabriel Garcia is the shortstop, leading things off with Pat Kivlahan, the center fielder, batting second. Tucker Nathans, the second baseman, bats third, with Thomas Walraven, the third baseman, in the cleanup spot. David Vinsky, the left fielder, hits fifth. Chris Quitzer is the first baseman, hitting sixth. Jimmy Costin, the catcher, tonight batting seventh. Joe DeLuca, the DH, batting eighth. And Giovanni Garbella, the right fielder, rounding out the order, batting ninth for New York. And they face Nate Florence on the bump tonight. He's been the most consistent starter, arguably, for the Yalls. You can throw it.
Manning short today. He's a Massachusetts native. 2-0 pitch to DeNicola. Fly ball, deep right field. There goes Scott, back to the track, back to the wall. It's gone! And that's how the scoreless tie is finally broken. A 3-run shot for Harrison DeNicola. It's 6-3 Yalls on DeNicola's first home run of the season.
Didn't get out of here by much, but it got out of here. That's all that matters. 3-run home run. And Johendry Herrera, who was pretty good through an inning and a third in this game, runs into trouble. Hitting below 100, 071. And he's had his fair share of games, making his 10th start. I'm sure it is tough to get in a rhythm playing sparingly. 1-1. Swinging a line drive over short. That's a base hit for Edwards. Scooped up by Meade. He cuts it off. Fuentes trying for third anyway, and the relay is cut. Fuentes with good speed. Once he saw Meade go into that slide to knock the ball down, I'm sure he had third on his mind, and he gets there on the single for Cooper Edwards, so right on cue.
The script. 2-2 outside of Zuber, who has worked a full count.
And all that against the pitcher making his first professional start last night as well. So rather odd sequence for the Otters, but I think that's kind of how their June has been to this point.
3-2, line to left center field. That is a base hit. It gets down into the gap and up against the wall for Zuber, who's motoring for second, and he gets in with a double with one out here in the third inning. Extra bases for Ray.